Hello,
Hi,
how are you?
I am fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Terrific. Okay. I read part of your book. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
You're very much welcome. All right, so let's get going. Okay. Let me on YouTube. Uh, is terrible. I don't know what happened. I was trying to get us on YouTube. Sorry about that. I was trying to get us on YouTube, but it wasn't. So let me try Facebook, see if we can do better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but okay. All right. Are you? Yes, you're still there. Very good. All right. Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Our motto is educate, enlighten, entertain. And this afternoon, our special guest is Camille L. Miller, who wrote a book called Soul Aligned Business. And she is going to tell us what got her started, how she recognized it, and most importantly, why involving your soul with your corporate business in your company is a good idea. So good afternoon, Camille. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me today.
Well, I saw your press release and I thought, that sounds like what I've been accused of. Only I did not know I was doing it. So the first question is, what made you go in that direction?
So a lot of background. My background before I did what I'm doing now, I was a not-for-profit executive, and I worked for the Northeast Organic Farming Association, and I later became acting president of the Northeast, which put me in Washington and working on our organic label. And it was in that role that I really got to bring my whole self to work. My professional side finally dovetailed with who I was holistically. And when I got to do that, I realized, wow, I was hiding a piece of myself. And that's what started the whole thing. That job was defunded in 2015, and I found myself kind of looking for what's next in my life. And as I was looking, I couldn't really find business organizations that I aligned with. I felt like the chambers and the BNIs and a lot of networking groups were more aligned in that aggressive behavior, right? It was very masculine energy for me. And it just didn't feel really good. And I was really looking for like, what are my next steps? Because I knew money really wasn't my influencer as much anymore as feeling in alignment in a purposeful job. And I felt the holistic organizations were way too woo-woo. And really not grounded at all in business. And I wanted to dovetail those two sides of me together. So I ended up creating what's called the Natural Life Business Partnership. We started out as a little coffee club, and I went to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the whole East Coast. And in 2017, I got a call from California and someone saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait for you to get out here." And I knew in that moment I did not have a sustainable model, but we heard of this thing called Zoom. And we brought the organization to a whole virtual global model in the early of 2018. So we were well prepared for 2020 when that hit. But it was in 2020 when the whole pandemic started to happen that I felt like people really weren't aligning who they are with what they did. And it started this whole idea of let's create a professional organization where people are truly recognized for the gifts that they bring to the world. Because I really believe that when you're authentic and when you bring your full self to the world, no matter what you do, that when you align it with who you are, that's when you're authentic. That's when you don't have competition either, right? Because you are the differentiator. You are you. And I really believe now in doing things differently. So we say a soul professional lives in a higher vibration, has an alternative approach to business, and is here to help repair the world. And we trademarked the word soul professional in 2021, and then brought out our whole organization and everything, although we've had the organization for 8 years. But the book really is because I found, this is the book, it's called The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul Aligned Business, 25 Practical Strategies from the Experts. And we really talked to 25 different people that had that aha moment that, oh my God, I'm doing this, but it doesn't make my heart sing, right? I go to work every day and I hate it, right? And to let people know that there is a way that you can combine who you are with what you do. And most of the people that we attract are introverts and creatives, and they have all of these ideas, but you can bring it together. And this book was the first part of a 3-book series. I'm writing the second book now, and it was really about just taking that leap of faith, just creating it, and creating it from alignment, from your ultimate dream, I call it. Like, don't tell me that in 5 years you want to live in Italy. Like, let's do that now. Like, let's create a job that allows you that freedom and that lifestyle. So that's the first of a 3-book series. And our second book is called The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Successful Soul Professional. So a lot of people create the business, but then it dies, right? I don't know what the percentage is of entrepreneurs that fail.
They say for women, it's almost more than half at this point. And I believe that it's because, first of all, women aren't really trained in the ways of the world for business.
True.
But I think the second most important thing is they don't realize that they must face themselves. I use a mirror when I try to get things done because you can't hide from the reflection. It's staring right back at you. So you talk to it soul to soul, very much so. You have to give yourself permission.
Yes.
To step out of your comfort zone.
Right. And we didn't have a lot of role models of people that did it authentically, right? That were truly themselves. There's not a lot of role models in any gender, because people were going through this professional, what they should be, you know, how you should dress, how you should act, how you show up, even the hours that you work, like 9 to 5, that's ridiculous. You're not productive at 9, just from 9 to 5, right? And allowing this new way is what changes things, right? I went to business school. I got my MBA way back in the 90s, right? We studied Disney, we studied McDonald's, we studied corporations. Now they probably do Google and Microsoft, but they didn't really teach us how to wake up every day and love who we are and what we do. And I think that's the difference. And I think with more women coming into power, it also changes. We're nurturing. That's who we are as people, right? We care about all the people that work with us and for us, and we do things in kindness and generosity and from a much different place than to just make the money, right? Making money is important, right?
Yes,
I
it
want to
is.
say you still want to make money. It does take both your masculine and your feminine side to do this, but it's really about the balance of it. It's not all one or the other. It's really this beautiful dovetailing of those skills and your creativeness. And, you know, you should love what you do. I always say, you know, when you're working in your passion, when you can get up every morning and you do it for free.
Yeah, it's the yin and the yang.
Yep.
As the Oriental says, there is a balance, not
Yep.
only in nature, but in your soul.
Everything.
And until you reach that balance, you're neither here or there. So you have to center yourself, sort of like thinking, in order to keep my balance, I have to center my hips, because that dictates to my body going up and my body going down. My grandson has one of those boards that is a cylinder underneath it, and he gets on that, and he has no, you know, he's young, he's 9, he does a beautiful job, and he rolls around and there's all kinds of things with it. But that's basically aligning yourself with your inner self, or your soul part. And a lot of people aren't aligned inside to begin with. They're all splintered.
That's a good metaphor. Yes, I agree. I agree. So to get back to your original question, the book was really about giving people permission and showing the stories of people that did it, so they can find themselves in one of those stories and do it.
And follow the directions. I tell people that many nonfiction books are written, but unless you put yourself into what they are suggesting, and you have to understand it's going to work differently for each person, because no generalized plan is a fit all size.
Absolutely.
And of course, I have trouble with that too, because I found when I speak to people, the first thing out of their mouth is, calm down, you're so passionate, you know. And I say, okay, I'll get off my soapbox here. But I love what I do, and I care about the principles that I use for my company. So that, and I've adhered to them for the last 17 years. And the company is vibrating. We're expanding now, but you're vibrating at the ends, because there's a lot more to it than just putting in your time.
Agreed. Agreed.
So what are some of the beginning steps that an entrepreneur or a coach or a small business person should start allowing, once they give themselves permission, allowing themselves to, well, what I call grow? Because if you don't grow, you go out into the garden, dig a hole, and throw yourself in. So you need to grow not only with your relationships, which is what you're having with your company that you've created. It's your relationship to that company and how you're going to grow at the same pace.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would say the first steps, like if you're just creating it or thinking about it, even if you have created it and haven't done the work, and this is in the book, that I always say, write out what you love to do and what you hate to do. So as you're creating your business, it's really from that place of joy, right? So I knew when I created my organization, I came out of the not-for-profit world. I did not want a board of directors, right? So that's why I don't have one. Now I like advisory boards, people that I can ask, you know, for great advice, but they don't have voting rights, right? So that's how I set that up. I knew I wanted something that was virtual so I can travel all over the world and still work, right? At the time I had young children and I needed flexibility. Now all my kids are gone. I'm in a different place. So my business will go, and change with me. Right?
Exactly.
I have a membership model because I wanted recurring income for the rest of my life. So there's things that I wanted and created a business in alignment. I absolutely love strategizing businesses. I love talking to people and saying, like, tell me your dreams. What do you want? And I call myself an alternative business engineer because I can create a business out of anything. I can get you money. That's one of my joys. I don't like running businesses, but I know that about myself. So I gave myself a position that I only stay in my joy. I get to strategize all the time. There's other people that help run the business for me, right? I have a staff and people that do the things that I don't like to do. So it's really about first just taking a piece of paper, 2 columns, and writing actually with a pen, you think differently. So write longhand if you can, and write the 2 columns of what you really want and what you don't want in this job. And a lot of times the first thing that comes up is true and authentic. And then if you give it time, your mind, your subconscious is going, no, we can't do it. People don't do it that way, or people won't like that, right? It's not really about your joy. So just be really truthful with yourself. And I always say, tweak things along the way. A lot of people try to do things in perfection. And I'm a big one, just launch it and fix it as it goes, right? There's things that we have launched that have not worked for us, and we change it along the way to make sure it gets better, right? And I've changed as a person. We have an upper level, what we call our soul leader inner circle now, right? Because I literally needed my own mastermind of people that were creating $1 million businesses in alignment because none existed in the world. So I created it. Right? Not because I was told you couldn't do it that way, because I said, we can do it this way. And there's other people doing it this way. Let's talk about that. Right? And then let's mentor other people. So you don't want to have that subconscious limiting belief of, I can't do it that way. You can do it any way you want. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You launch it and you figure it out. I'm as much as a student as I am a mentor.
Oh, yes, that sounds like me. I mean, I have a lady, my station manager, and she takes care of all the details.
Yep.
I'm not good with
So you
details.
can stay in your
I'm too
joy.
busy doing other things. So
Absolutely.
she comes in and she gets all the details, and the questions I don't ask, she makes, she thinks of, and she asks them, and I write them down and say, by the way, my station manager wants to know. I do have one word for the people who find what they love and what they hate, the hands off. Once you hand it off, don't connect.
Take it back.
Yes. Don't take it back. Don't interfere. Don't micromanage. Don't get involved. That
Absolutely.
is no longer under your control, whether holistically or corporate wise. You hand something off, you wipe your hands, you dry it with a towel, and you move forward.
I love that.
Because a lot of them
won't
do that. And there should be, if I'm pretty sure, maybe I haven't reached it yet in your book, but there should be steps of how a person can reach that, what I call a holistic state of mind. So they get rid of the garbage, the baggage, the emotional, and the feeling that, well, they weren't good at school, they barely made it through college, and I can't do this. I can't compete with the big boys. And you cannot think that way. I take a lot of leaps of faith, and no matter what, I don't look back. I know there's a price to pay, so I'm ready to pay the price, but I'm not going to weep over it and have, number one tip, no regrets.
Right.
Absolutely none. You don't need the extra chains that Marley wove for himself on this planet. You don't need it.
Yeah, agreed. It's giving yourself permission. It's so many things. Yeah.
So what do you tell your clients about house cleaning their mind before they start putting some of your suggestions into?
Yeah, well, I think the real crux of it all is your mindset. I always say
Yes.
it takes the inner work to create the outer success, right? You have to do a lot of mindset work. I'm still doing mindset work, and whatever level I hit, I don't know if it's a sticky floor or a glass ceiling, but I hit it. I either stuck to it or I hit it, because I have to constantly work with imposter syndrome issues. And, I'm not good enough. Why aren't I attracting the right people? I mean, we go through that at every single level. Or I don't belong in this crowd, right?
Yes.
All the time. So it's a constant effort. It's not like you do the mindset work and you're done. It's constantly doing it and recognizing when you've hit it again, right? Now I call myself out, right? Like, I'm hitting it again. I need to go get some help with that. And I do. I'm constantly working with other coaches, for help in mindset. It's part of the things that we do in our community, right? As much as you're learning your profit and loss statement, you have to learn your mindset mastery. They're equal in our business, right? So it's both. And it's a different mindset to be a leader than to start your company and do all the work. To delegate it is a different mindset. And I always say it's a lot about trusting the process too. I have to trust that people know what they're doing and things will work out. I have made mistakes trusting the process without, being in a place where I should have let it go, but that's all a learning curve. And I always say, I don't regret anything that ever happened in my life. I don't care what it was. There are no regrets, because it made me who I am today. And so did my failures.
Yes. I find that a lot of, especially women, find that they make a choice and then they take it back. You cannot do that, ladies. You have to follow your action down to its logical conclusion, good, bad, or indifferent. My dad was a chemical engineer and he built a lot of bridges. And he would tell me, and this is when the calculator first came in, and he couldn't make his students understand that just being 1 decimal off would destroy the bridge.
Absolutely.
And you have to take that kind of thinking into when you're running a business. That if you're 1 decimal off, you are going to destroy something. Your infrastructure, you have to build before you can go ahead and really take your corporation to the next level. And if you don't have that infrastructure, which means, yes, you need to ask questions. And I think the one thing that women really don't like to do is ask for help, because, well, men don't do it. So, shows me I'm weak. No, when you ask for help, it's showing how strong you are.
Right. Yeah. Help was actually my word for 2022, because I had trouble asking for help and I had trouble receiving help. So I literally took that to work on the whole year. And it was really mind-blowing how much it changed both myself and my business, because that's how we ended up having micro communities and mentorships. Because I realized I can't run it all on my own.
No.
Right? I need help and other people's expertise to step in so we're all well-rounded. And as soon as I did that, it was just kind of like a download of, oh my God, look at all of these people helping. So yeah, help is a big one.
It surely is. I mean, it's something I'm learning. I'm getting more involved in video production. Folks, I run an all-woman-owned and operated internet talk radio station. Been up for 17 years, based on 3 principles. We're heard in 176 countries. We have 3 to 4 million listeners. Half of it came to Twitter. Okay, enough about me. What Camille is saying is important. So before you put together your corporate business plan, may I make a suggestion that you write up a holistic plan of how you're going to include what parts of you to insert into your corporation. I don't have a bachelor's or a master's or a doctorate. I just have an AA degree. And yes, I did graduate from high school by the skin of my teeth, I might add. And nobody in my family ever thought I'd be, quote, smart enough to do this. But here I am with a company, 17 years old, and we're still going strong. And yes, I just got my fiction book for kids accepted by a major publisher who says it reads
Yay.
like butter. This is from a
Beautiful.
woman who people signed off a long time ago and was raised to be barefoot and pregnant. So it's you who are the determining factor of how the rest of your company is going to flow and grow.
Absolutely.
Which is what
Right.
I was delighted to hear. I was on the right track, even not knowing what I was doing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think it's also really important to surround yourself with people that are who you want to become. Right? Because there's a lot
Absolutely.
of entrepreneurs that hang around with their friends that, work for paychecks, and their family that's saying you can't do it for whatever reason, or that's not how we do it. And that's the wrong group. You have to hang around people that are successful and are where you want to be.
Who are dreamers, who
Dreamers,
are
for
passionate.
me, creatives. Yep.
Yeah, what people who are willing to take risks. I take leaps of faith. That's what I call them. And then I have a little inner person called Father Thomas that doubts everything. And we have arguments. But you know what? It makes you think. What some people say, it's your gut telling you. Well, my Father Thomas talks to me a lot, and all my characters for that matter. So if people wanted to buy your book, where would they find it?
Amazon is the best place. You can go right to Amazon. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business. You can also buy an author-signed copy on my own website, which is soulprofessional.com. And I sign all of those. Amazon, obviously, I don't.
And if people want to find you on the World Wide Web, do you have a website?
Soulprofessional.com.
And all your videos and audios can find you where? YouTube, Facebook?
I'm on all of them. We have our free global collaborative on Facebook, which you could look up. I'm on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube at nlbp.tv. That'll bring you to our YouTube channel. I have a podcast, which is on all of it. It's called Six Figure Souls, Doing Good and Making Money. But if you just Google Camille L. Miller, you'll find me pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, she's on the first 10 pages, the way I am.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, folks. You want your company to be in the first 10, 20 pages of Google. Why? Because Google brings in a very large share of potential clients.
Absolutely.
And you need to be aware of it. Just don't depend on LinkedIn. Google is really massive.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any parting words for the audience?
Just follow your joy.
I like that.
You can do it. Yeah. There's nothing that anyone can't do. They were just programmed to believe that. Yeah.
You're the only person who can stop yourself.
Yep. Absolutely true.
Camille, I really want to thank you for coming on. It was a great discussion between us. I hope the audience picked up a few topics and suggestions that they too can turn around and put into their business and then write you and say, hey, it worked. So if you want to hear this all over again, as Camille said, we're all over social media, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and 15 other directories. Just put in PWTRN, put in Camille Miller, just put in Lillian Cauldwell, and it'll take you to the website, passionateworldtalkradio.com. I want to thank all of you for listening. And remember, please keep listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome very much. Now, I did want to ask you